Carrying a blade on duty can be a huge asset, and here are a couple things you need to keep in mind. First and foremost, when it comes to carrying a blade on duty, there's no doubt that there's a lot of disordered mindsets about how to apply it, why to apply it. A lot of people just don't understand why and how to carry a blade and what it's useful for. But if we are carrying on duty and we do deploy a blade, we know how effective it can be as a force multiplier. We say it all the time. It's a get off me tool. It's a leverage tool. It's something that in an extremis situation, especially when grappling, can be an asset to you to be able to break contact or give yourself more distance. The biggest thing about carrying on duty is not only the type of blade that you're going to carry, because everybody's job is going to be a little different. You might be on an overt setting like this where you're in a carrier, or you're on duty but you are in a low vis situation. Either way, the blade's going to be a little bit different for each one of those scenarios, but the principles need to stay the same. And one of those principles is the referencing, the anchoring, the indexing. Those three really are the same. Reference, anchor, index, they're all kind of similar, but people say it different ways. It's where is my blade in reference to my kit and how I'm carrying. So when I need it in an extremis situation, or I need to get it fast, I know that I can reference it and deploy it immediately. So for example, like this carrier here, it's center mounted, which I've always carried it center mounted. Why? Because I need to be able to go right hand, left hand, gun in the right hand, gun in the left hand, on my side, on my back, it doesn't matter. I can quickly reference this without looking at it, get my thumb capped at the top, and then be able to pull out and deploy the blade in whatever means necessary. So making sure that the reference is solid. And then you want to get reps in. You want to train with where you put your gear. If you are on duty, let's be honest, you have a higher calling, more responsibility. It's not to lessen the everyday carry guy, but you're in an overt setting where you're actually deployed to do something. Maybe that's overseas, or maybe you're just a law enforcement officer, but you want to make sure that where your blade is referenced, you get training in and you deploy it over and over and over again. So no matter what you're wearing, maybe you're deploying an AR that day, maybe you're deploying a pistol that day. If the blade needs to come out, you're not wondering where you put it or how you mounted it. It's tried and true, and it's also anchored. The mounting system, which is why we have our Dynamo sheaths with the clip that grabs the cloth, or even what we have in here, which is the Armor Carrier Velcro mount, which goes into the carrier and solidly anchors there. So when I pull this out, it doesn't come with it. That blade sheath stays in its place every single time. Make sure your mounting is tight. Again, we're on duty. We need to rely on this with our life. So make sure that you keep it tight. In this situation, obviously this is a trainer, but this is realistically why we're talking about creating the Razorback and the Revere Pro. We've had the black handle on the single edge and double edge for a while, but a lot of people want to use the Razorback and the Revere in an on-duty setting, which is why we created the black handle. A lot of guys don't want a red handle or an orange handle on duty. It needs to fit the profile. It needs to be low vis. It needs to look professional, which is obviously why we named it the Pro, but we wanted to give guys those options. It might seem like a simple fix, but we know guys out there that have not even bought the Razorback or the Revere and wanted it because it simply wasn't a black handle. When we talk about being in the military or law enforcement, we have a uniform for a reason, to look professional, to make sure that everything is in line and in order and matches the environment that we're going to. Maybe it's a darker environment, maybe it's a jungle environment, whatever the case may be, we want to be able to have that subdued ability with the Revere and the Razorback Pro. This point is going to be different for everybody, but I want to talk about what blade to carry. Again, we talked about the Razorback and the Revere Pro. Why do we need a black handle? But ultimately, they're different lengths as well. So how do we choose the right blade in an on-duty setting? Again, I mentioned you might be overseas in an overt setup like this where you're wearing a carrier and an AR, or you might be deployed where you're in a low-vis setup and you are absolutely trying to just blend in. So that is going to change the differences of what you're using. And I always recommend, look, if you're on duty and you're already in an overt setup where you have all this gear on, carry the biggest blade you can most effectively deploy that's not any bigger than necessary to use the specific targeting and manipulation needed. That's what I would tell anybody that's in an overt setup that's going overseas. From a reduced signature operation, then I'm gonna say you wanna carry as big of a blade as you possibly can without being too much material and still remain effective. That's why we made the Razorback the size that it is, because it's still concealable, but you could absolutely use it as a mounted fixed blade. And that's why we developed the size of the Revere Pro and the Revere and single edge and double edge in general, is that that's the maximum size that we still think you can conceal, but deploy in combat and on duty as well. We always have new products dropping, and the Revere Pro is one of them. As always, make sure you're on the SMS list to get 24-hour advanced notice to make sure those drops are happening. Again, the last couple of drops, they were out before the even public launch happened, or we had a few left. So that SMS list is really important. That's how we're talking directly to our customers. So appreciate you guys watching. If you guys want to find out any more about our other blades, you can go to crusheverything.com, and we'll see you guys in the next video.